You're watching Welcome Home, bringing you life-changing stories filled with hope.
Viewers, I'm glad that you're with us today because you're going to get a blessing out of this next interview. I have a very special couple with us here who've been married for 50, not 15, 50 years, Tony and Laureen Giorgio, and they have an incredible ministry that I can't wait for you to hear about. Thank you both for being here with us today. Now, you are from where originally, Tony? Where are you from originally?
Brooklyn, New York.
For some reason, I kind of guessed that.
You thought so?
I thought so. I thought you might be from Brooklyn. I wasn't sure,
really?
though.
I don't know how people think.
What did the people... You live in North Carolina now. So what do they say about your...
You ain't from around here. It's been 15 years, and I'm still not from around there.
Oh, well, you started a wonderful ministry together. How many years ago, Laureen, have you all been in ministry?
Oh, I'd say a little over 30 years.
30 years in ministry, and started with children, Compassion for Children.
Yes, it was called Compassion Children's Foundation right here in the Central Florida area, and we were advocates for seriously ill children who fell through the cracks, couldn't get treatment, so we went to bat for them, and that's how it all started.
What did you do to go to bat for these children?
I argued with a lot of people. No, well, I sort of went where they couldn't go. With no time at all and the stress of a child being sick, you really can't fight your own battles. So they'd call me, and I would call either administrators, insurance companies, congressmen, whatever the situation was, and plead their case for them and tell them that, you know, they're going to let a child die because of money.
What is your situation with children? Did you all have children?
No.
No.
So these were your children?
That's right.
Is that why you think God placed this ministry on your heart?
I have that feeling. And she's got me. She
We
doesn't
had
need
we had no intention of starting a 501c3, so that was all God. God was compassion. I mean, he started it, and he ended it, that part of it, and then started Living with Victory.
Which is the radio ministry that you have now. Before we talk about the radio ministry, Laureen, how many children do you think you impacted through the years? Just a guess. 4 or 5, 400 and 500?
I would
probably
say
5 or
6. 4 to 600 people.
That's
amazing. They may not have been big cases as some of them were, but just even touching their lives a little bit.
Except for the law we had passed here in Florida, where they could not turn the lights off on seriously ill children. We went up to Tallahassee for months and 2 years it took us actually,
2 years,
and they had 500 people on the list that they could not turn the lights off that were deemed, you know, life-threatening. And
are you talking about turning off life support?
That's right. Yeah, in the house. If you don't pay your electric.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then they would pull the child out of the house.
Oh, no.
And they would put them in a hospital, and they would deem the parents unfit because they didn't pay the bill. We reversed that, where there was from 500, it went to 5,000 families throughout the state of Florida that could get on the list as long as the doctor had a written agreement that they were in danger if, you know, the lights went out. So that took in a lot more children than we could ever imagine, because we know 5,000 families were helped.
What was the first case like? Whatever got you involved in this? What made you think that you could do something like this?
We didn't know. Go ahead.
Well, when we moved up here from Fort Lauderdale, there was a family that had a 2-year-old that had AML, and they were sending him home to die because there was nothing else they could do, and they owed too much money to go into an experimental treatment. They didn't have the insurance. And Tony really got a hold of it. He couldn't let go of it, so we knew that was God. And we started fundraising, cooking spaghetti dinners and whatever you could do. And but the bottom line is, with all the calling and the fighting, we got him back in. After that first case, it was, we didn't even think about it. We just said, let's form a we didn't even know what a 501c3 was. And he said, well, let's form one. I said, okay. And we gave our AMX card, which we were overdrawn, but it was worth it. We paid the bill off, and we ran it for over 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years, and helped a lot of people throughout the United States. And then it evolved, and the radio program blossomed in the 90s, at WTLN.
Right here in Central Florida.
We had a program called Wings for Angels, and we would interview families who were in trouble to tell their stories to the public and see if they can get some assistance. And that just kept up for quite a while. And now the radio came back with just telling people the stories that because between her breast cancer, several bankruptcies, we've lost quite a bit, but the Lord always found a way to make it right.
Yeah.
Not us, but him. And everything I did through compassion is through him. I could have never, I didn't know anything about talking to anybody, administrators of how negotiating.
Well, what
with
is
the
your
state.
background? What was your job back then, 30 years ago?
What job? Oh, okay. Well, we worked for Walt Disney World. She worked there 18 years.
Well, I was going to tell you how much you look like Disney.
And,
well, I mean,
there you go.
Walt
There's
Disney.
another one.
Yeah.
See?
Do you not?
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard it.
Yes.
I've heard it. Yeah.
But
yeah.
before that, you were driving a truck.
I was driving a truck. Before that. And I had phlebitis in my leg, so I was in a hospital for 5 weeks, and I ended up going back to school, and I got a degree in business, and then I went on to drive the truck in Fort Lauderdale, became a purchasing manager for a linen supply company. And that's basically where I was at until I came up here. We worked for Disney, and then that mushroomed with our neighbor who had the little child.
Right.
So that, but Disney was very heavily involved and helped us out a great deal and supported. They
well,
were
God had you in the right place at the right time.
He was leading us all that while.
Yeah,
right, absolutely.
And she stayed 18 years there to supply our bread and butter.
Sure.
You know, while I was out there being crazy with everybody and
being
saying,
like a John the Baptist is what you were doing, right? In the wilderness.
It really.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where some administrators would say, oh, if that's Giorgio, just give him what he wants.
Give him what he wants. We don't want to have to put up with him.
Anyway, I don't want to bother with
about it.
What a great reputation. Well, God has done an incredible work in your life.
But now we're trying to tell people that.
And that mushroomed into the radio ministry that you have even now. You won't retire. You're still working.
No, we're still doing it.
There's no such thing as that R word in our lives. I mean,
nor in the Bible. Who retired in the Bible?
Well, I tell God, I say, listen, Lord, I'm 3/4 of a century old. And he said to me, have you ever heard of Methuselah? I said, okay.
You're young, right?
You know, that's it. I'm a baby.
That's exactly right.
But God gave me this for a reason, so I'm using it. But we're trying to tell people through the radio program on WTLN that no matter what, if you lean on him and leave it to him, it's okay. It only hurts for a little while.
Right.
He died on that cross for a little while because now he's alive. So take that as an example. And that's how we live our whole lives. She beat breast cancer. I mean, I beat phlebitis. I had 12 clots in my ankle.
So you could have died.
Yeah.
Many more. I was 29 years old. One went to my heart and one went to my lungs. They just about gave me up for dead. But my mother-in-law, God bless her, see, I don't know if it was revenge, but anyway, she thought I was choking on food. I was sitting at the table, and she slapped me on the back because I was falling over. The doctor says she dislodged the clots. And they went through, and there was no damage. And
Quite a back slap, that one was, right?
She was pretty tough
she let
lady.
him have it.
Yeah, the old Italians, you know. But that led to a lot.
So let's talk about victory in the midst of storms, because you, Laureen, had your own storm with breast cancer. I know you've alluded to it, Tony, but tell us about that bout. This was how many years ago?
Well, this was 6 years ago now.
Okay.
And
did they give you a death sentence?
Well, they didn't know what was there. Actually, the way God works, when they took out the one lump, there was another lump underneath of a different cancer that was worse than that one.
They got that one too at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
And 33 radiation treatments.
Wow. And nothing's, and you're cured. Praise God.
I have been fine. God has really, I have more energy now than I had when I was 40.
Trust me.
I'm telling you.
You're having a hard time keeping up with this one?
You want to wait for me?
God is really
What has he told you
good.
about the rest of your life, Laureen?
He told me I was to glorify him. And that's the only reason why I'm doing this, because it's not for me.
Right.
It's for him.
Right.
I love him.
So what do you see for the rest of your lives together in ministry, Tony?
Well, I see a lot of exercise, and I also see helping a lot of people through our storms. And our whole mantra is, Jesus is your umbrella. in a storm.
Yes.
This is your covering. This is your rock, really. And just showing them literally what we've been through. I mean, we've been through some crazy stuff. You know, 5 weeks in a hospital, no insurance, her with the breast cancer. So we're looking to expand. Now we can do it from the radio. We don't have to run here, there, or anywhere, even though coming here was a run. But God said go, and we went, you know. But we want to tell people, at least give them the opportunity to learn from what the mistakes we made and how we're still standing. It's 3/4 of a century later. I'm still standing through it all. And we've been through a lot, but I want to see the ministry growing to the point that we really can help. And no matter what, out of your adversities comes good. She had the breast cancer. The way her faith took her into that breast cancer, the doctor noticed it and said, can you do something to help these women who are going through it? Because their attitudes and everything are killing them, literally, with the treatments. She made 3 programs up on CDs, and he allowed her to put it in the waiting room at the Hope Cancer Center. We've given away free 2,000 CDs to women going through breast cancer, her testimony alone. And God furthers that because Walmart and Sam's gives us gift cards to pay for the CDs, the jackets. We haven't, in 5 years, we haven't paid anything toward that ministry.
I would say, Tony and Laureen Giorgio, that God is honoring you, is showing great favor on your lives because of your love for Him and your faithfulness throughout the years. May God continue to bless you and give you many, many more years of ministry together. Thank you so much for being here with us today. God bless you. And what an encouragement, viewers, to me. I've been inspired today. I'm not about to retire. After hearing this testimony, I hope that you'll feel the same way too. There's work to be done, whether it's next door, praying for grandchildren, whatever it is. Don't retire. Continue to work. There is victory through the midst of storms. Stay with us, and we'll be right back with lots more.